So another state is pushing for more restrictions around wholesale real estate, and this is just the trend happening around this country. And so I hope a lot of you all are just used to it and are preparing to either get licensed or just provide a ton of disclosures to your sellers, which I do agree with. I agree with properly educating your sellers on what's happening in this transaction, that you may or may not be the end buyer, that you have partners, that you have cash buyers, and just let them know what they're signing, understanding and teaching them that, hey, this is an assignable contract, and just going over that process. I do agree with the disclosure. And to a certain degree, I can see how making sure people are licensed can help. But I don't 100% agree that it should be a requirement for all states or all cities. But this new state I didn't hear about before, and so I just want to highlight it for you all on this channel because I update you all on wholesaling news. I also teach you all the different steps around wholesaling real estate. So if you all find that interesting, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel for some more content around real estate investing in general. Hey, by the way, make sure you all check my shorts. I post a lot of shorts about mostly my flips that I'm working on. So if you all are interested on that side of real estate investing, please check that out. So I'm going to read this article with you all and just share my thoughts, and you all please share your thoughts down below also. All right, so the next state is Connecticut. Maybe someone heard about it before, but I didn't know Connecticut was pushing for tighter laws around residential real estate wholesalers, but apparently they are. Lawmakers have proposed a bill to regulate agreements between real estate wholesalers and sellers of residential property in Connecticut as a way to protect residents from potentially confusing and unclear contracts. Okay, I can see how that would be important, because you need to make sure the seller understands what they're signing, making sure it's clear, because not everyone understands assignable. Not everybody understands wholesaling, right? I know for my family, it took them the longest time for them to understand what I was doing, what wholesale real estate was. And it could be kind of hard to explain, especially early on for a lot of beginners. But hopefully you guys follow channels like this that helps you all explain it better and write it better in your contracts. Why does it matter? According to Bankrate.com, wholesaling saw a significant increase during the pandemic. That has led to increased scrutiny from some states and the media, who have raised concerns about predatory sales practices and the inability of homeowners to get out of deals. All right, I mean, wholesaling did see an increase in the pandemic. I actually saw an increase in more sales and this YouTube channel during the pandemic. So I think a lot of people were entering wholesaling, and I think a lot of people were selling their houses too. After like the whole scare of the pandemic happened, but after that, people were interested in selling. So House Bill 5461, introduced by Insurance and Real Estate Committee, will establish new guidelines for contracts between home sellers and real estate wholesalers, okay? Or essentially middlemen between people selling the properties and buyers. Wholesaler, they enter contract, okay. The proposed bills require any real estate wholesalers to disclose, I agree with, in writing that it intends to sell or assign such wholesaler agreement for a profit. Does not represent the seller of the residential real property or such seller's financial interest. Okay. And intends to market the seller's residential property for sale to prospective buyers or assignees of such residential property. Okay, I understand. Yeah, like a lot of this verbiage is already in a lot of wholesaling contracts, like intend to assign this contract. But there's also maybe a clause in that contract that you may actually end up buying it for yourself, whether you want to hold it as a rental or a flip. The bill would also require the property seller to provide the real estate wholesaler a written residential condition report that would then be shared with the prospective buyer. Contracts between sellers and wholesalers couldn't extend 6 months per bill. Okay, makes sense. Now that's interesting, like providing a condition contract or a writing about the actual condition of the property, because I think that actually puts more responsibility on the seller, like to disclose more information, which kind of makes sense, you know. So they're actually putting, it seems like they're putting a little pressure on the seller. Notably, the bill says any seller 65 years old and up can terminate a wholesaler agreement without penalty up to the closing of sale. Wow. The seller would have to provide written notice to the wholesaler and return the deposit. That's very interesting. Okay, I can see that. Like I don't think that's totally bad. I mean, there are some like sharp 65-year-olds, 70-year-olds, you know, but you know, I could see people maybe taking advantage of older people and things of that nature. So advocates of the proposal says older adults and those in tough financial situations are typically the ones to get taken advantage of because of real estate wholesaler agreements. You know, the whole thing about wholesaling that I don't know, like that I like the whole restriction and this trend that I don't really agree with is I understand it, right? But at the same time, I don't feel like there's a lot of laws around a lot of industries that take advantage of people, right? Like the automobile industry. Even though, like, yeah, car salesmen, they have probably the worst rep out of all the salesmen. But I don't feel like they had to do they have to disclose stuff like this? Like, oh, like the AC is not working and or you know, things of that nature. But you know, this is how we're living, and this is the trend that wholesaling is going in. So buyers are also sometimes at a disadvantage without having a condition report to disclose any potential issues with the property they're purchasing. Sellers need to understand that they will likely be selling the property at a price considerably lower than the market value, because otherwise there wouldn't be any reason for the wholesaler to want to do this. They want to make a profit. Exactly. Okay, so a person from a former president of Connecticut realtor. So who's against it? Thursday Public didn't hear any opposition. Wow. And that's the thing. I've been seeing this like in these different laws and things that are going on between wholesalers and agents, like like in the House, in their legislative, and those people, they all come together and they actually all agree. Democrats and Republicans agree with more restrictions around wholesaling. And so I think that's one of the crazy things that brings the two opposing sides together. But State Department of Consumer Protection Commissioner Brian said in a written testimony that the DCP recommends the bill's language to further clarify the type of agreements covered and which specific rights a residential seller may contract away. So they had a public hearing Thursday morning to hear from people about the proposal. No further action have been taken on the bill this session. So I don't think it has officially passed, but they've been talking about it. And so here's another state talking about more restrictions around wholesaling real estate and just dealing with all of that. And yeah, it's just interesting, like how they come together and they agree on this common cause of more restriction around wholesaling real estate. And I think it's just going to make it more tough for beginners to get started in this industry and getting their first deal, because maybe now they have to think more about the contracts. Now they have to, which is good. It's not entirely bad. I'm not saying that's bad. But they may need to get their license. They need to do more, which is good. It probably will weed out a lot of bad apples and people doing things wrong. But I mean, that's how you learn, kind of. You know, you make mistakes. But this is the trend. Let me know your thoughts on this article down below. If you're in the state of Connecticut or you wholesale virtually to Connecticut, let me know if anything's changed with you or you're thinking about wholesaling in that state. I would like to know more about the state and just like the home values there too. All right, you all. Hope you all like this video. Comment down below and subscribe, and I'll talk to you all later.